I want to break down 3 of the biggest manifestation blockages that I feel like I've personally struggled with along the way on my manifestation journey. And I feel like for the most part, I've successfully overcome these manifestation blockers, and I've been able to call in a lot of really wonderful things into my life, including meeting and marrying my husband, my dream car, which was a BMW convertible a couple years ago in 2022, a brand deal for $8,000 on TikTok, going viral on TikTok with a video that almost hit 10 million views. There's so many things I manifested, and I don't believe I would have been able to manifest these things if I hadn't worked through these 3 manifestation blockages. Okay, so the first one is 2 parts: telling my manifestations to the wrong people and talking about my manifestations before they're even complete. Telling my manifestations to the wrong people has seriously been a problem, because when you open up about what you're trying to call into your life to people who don't believe in you, who don't have your best interest at heart, they're gonna naturally and automatically be sending bad vibrations your way and negative energy your way that isn't conducive to calling in your manifestation. Sometimes you might think that you're sharing this exciting information about your manifestation and your plans with someone who you can trust, but you might not always know if this person has your best interest at heart, because they might be super nice to your face, but in the back of their mind, they're hoping that you fail and they're preying on your downfall. I've definitely shared my plans and my hopes and my dreams with the wrong people before, and I've seen those manifestations get blocked. I'm not saying that they were blocked forever, but I'm saying that telling my manifestations to the wrong people definitely messed with the timeline in which things probably should have arrived into my life. The second part is talking about my manifestations before they've happened, just in general across the board. When you talk about a plan, a goal, a dream, before it has materialized into your life, you get a dopamine hit. You get this feeling of completion because you've completed the act of telling someone the exciting idea or story. The manifestation itself is not complete, but you feel like you completed something because you talked about it, you opened up about it. And that's part of the problem. It kind of demotivates you and takes away that big drive and desire to actually complete the manifestation, because you've already gotten the pleasure of talking about it out loud. So that has definitely happened to me before, where I'm super hyped up about something and bubbling over with joy and excitement and wanting to share it. And so I talk about it, and the excitement and motivation I had to follow through with it kind of dies after that. Part of manifestation is taking inspired action. You actually have to get up and get things done. You have to actually leave your house and handle business, or hop on your laptop and handle business. Whatever it is, you have to actually take action. So instead of giving yourself that false hit of dopamine by talking about these big goals that you have before they've materialized, it's kind of best to maybe just keep it to yourself, unless you have like a really, really, really good friend who you can absolutely trust, who is rooting for you to win, or your husband or wife, someone in your life who is absolutely trustworthy and is absolutely on your side, praying for your success. Maybe 1 or 2 people that you can trust with this information of what you're trying to call in. So yeah, that's definitely been one of my biggest mistakes, talking about my manifestations to the wrong people and talking about them too soon before they've materialized. So the next one is listening to low vibrational music, watching low vibrational TV shows and movies, listening to low vibrational podcasts, just absorbing low vibrational entertainment, engaging with low vibrational, even social media pages. Like, I don't want to call anybody out, but one that rhymes with the blade boom, the blade bloom maybe. It's really crucial to pay attention to what we're consuming and what we're absorbing, because like attracts like, energy flows where our attention goes. So what are we giving our attention to? What are we focusing on? Because if we're trying to focus on manifesting more money, manifesting a loving relationship, manifesting a healthy body, if we're trying to manifest good, positive, high vibrational things, then the things we're consuming cannot be the opposite. They cannot be low vibrational. I take this piece so seriously that I actually left a job over it. I used to work in pop culture entertainment as a pop culture writer, lifestyle writer, and there was one position that had me in charge of investigating true crime entertainment, I guess, true crime podcasts, true crime headlines, things that could be covered on this company's website for entertainment purposes. And so day in and day out, I was doing research about all of these women who were getting, and it was really dark. It was a lot of super low vibrational headlines and stories that I was reading, and it was always female victims who were being, and I had to do it for this position, but it got to the point where I was having nightmares at night, And I was like actually having terrible dreams and night scares over the things that I was having to research in my waking life, to the point that I had to reach out to my editor and let them know, hey, I don't know if I could do this anymore. This isn't working for me in terms of my mental health. And I don't think they took me seriously, and that's fine. I ended up leaving the position. It's just not worth it for my mental health. And then beyond that, music is a harder one. It's much harder for me because I love hip hop music. I love it so much. Not all hip hop music fits into this category, by the way, but a lot of hip hop music can be, I don't want to say a lot of it, I don't even want to say most of it. Some hip hop music can be low vibrational with the subject matter that rappers rap about. And we all know what I'm talking about. I don't need to get into the nitty gritty. The way women are objectified, hookup culture is glorified. There's just a lot of low vibrational subject matter in rap music when it comes to relationships. And I'm a lover girl. I love being married to my husband. In hip hop music, that's not really the vibe, but I love how hip hop music sounds. So it's definitely, there's a fine line there of what I want to absorb and what I want to consume as I try to maintain my lifestyle on a high vibrational level. I never really got into horror movies, but I guess that kind of applies here. Another thing that applies here is adult XXX entertainment. It clouds your pineal gland, which is your third eye chakra, and it makes it really difficult to manifest things into your life. So it's best to snip, cut that out of your life. It's especially problematic if it's something that you are addicted to. I'm not saying that I've exiled all true crime entertainment. It's very tricky to call it entertainment, but like, for example, I used to write about the Gabby Petito case in 2021 when it was actively happening for one of the publications I wrote for. I followed her story, her life and her death. I followed it very closely. So when Netflix released a documentary telling her story, I felt inclined to tune in because I'd spent so much time invested in her story. It's extremely low vibrational. It's super sad. I also feel like I want to pull as much positives as I can away from it and think about the fact that her family was able to open a foundation in her name, and that her story going so viral and going as public as it did has saved so many other young girls because they've looked at her story and seen similar red flags in their own relationships, and it has encouraged them to walk away from their own relationships. So there are some cases where I feel like it's a case-by-case basis, 1,000%. You can't just say like, oh, I'm done with all of this genre, or I'm done with all of this media forever. Like when I'm like hardcore serious about calling something into my life through manifestation, I'm listening to Taylor Swift playlists that are super high vibrational and fun. Maybe not her heartbreak songs, but Taylor's more fun music. And I'm watching reruns of The Office so that I'm spending a lot of time laughing, maybe like reconsidering some of the media that you're consuming, especially when you're hyper focused, hyper vigilant on calling in a specific manifestation. Because sometimes like when you have a goal in mind, you might just want to, like, I'm not saying give up your favorite music forever. Like there might be a set time where you're like, I have to only listen to high vibrational things for the next, I don't know, 3 months, 2 weeks, whatever it is. I really want to lock in. I really want to focus on this manifestation, and I need to be filled with the highest of vibrations until it comes to me. Laughter puts you at a higher vibration. When you're at a higher vibration, it makes it easier to manifest things. So I'm deliberately going out of my way to consume that type of media. Third and final one is feeling undeserving and unworthy of my manifestation. Feeling undeserving of your manifestation means that you're not creating a receptive environment for your manifestation to make its way to you. You have to be on the same frequency as your manifestation if you expect it to come into your life. Here's what I mean by that. If you are, for example, trying to manifest something like a romantic relationship, love is at the higher point of the vibrational frequency chart. So if you're at the bottom feeling shame, guilt, grief, anger, fear, anything negative pertaining to your self-worth, you're not matching the frequency of love, which is closer to the top. The same thing applies with any manifestation you might have. Some people don't think that wealth or money is a good thing to be manifesting because they think it equates to greed. I'm gonna debunk that. The more money you have, the more wealth that you attract, the easier it is to help people around you. Not just the people you love, but literally everyone. When you are a wealthy person, it's easy to be generous. It's easy to give. It's a beautiful thing to have more than enough. It's a beautiful thing to live an abundant life. It is not a greedy thing. Back to romantic relationships and love. If you don't feel like you're a lovable person, then it's extremely difficult to attract loving relationships. There are plenty of people in the world who attract romantic relationships even though they don't love themselves. It happens all the time. it can happen. And that's an argument that people have. They're like, well, I hate when people say that I need to practice self-love to find my partner. That's so stupid. It's like, okay, you can definitely attract a partner into your life when you don't love yourself, but a lot of the time it sets you up for failure, because when you don't have high self-esteem or you feel like you're not worthy of love, you end up in situations where you're being easily manipulated, used, abused, and hurt by other people. When you love yourself and you walk into a room feeling confident and feeling so sure of yourself, people who would have otherwise come around to manipulate you will be like, I don't know if I want to get intertwined with her. She knows how to hold her own. She can stand on her own 2 feet, and they're not even going to try to mess with you. So you end up saving yourself from a lot of heartbreak. Manipulators, narcissists, sociopaths, toxic people know how to target someone with low self-esteem. They will literally notice that you don't love yourself and choose you for that reason. So just for example, when it was time for me to manifest my relationship with my soulmate, my husband, who I'm currently married to, I started the whole process not feeling worthy of love. I didn't feel like I deserved to be loved. And my history showed that the people who I chose to date didn't really love me. They didn't really respect me. And I chose that for myself because I didn't have self-love. So when I went on the process that I went on to meet my husband, the biggest thing that I focused on was practicing self-love, truly putting self-love into practice. And it felt like I was dousing myself in a bucket full of magic. I had never knew how important it was to practice self-love until it came time for me to really lock in, because I knew that I need to be a better version of myself if I'm going to meet someone who's actually going to love me. So by practicing self-love, I mean, I was in the gym every day. I got into the best shape of my life. I was also at that same time trying to manifest a job as a Las Vegas showgirl with the feathers, and I did end up getting that job. So at the same time I'm trying to manifest meeting my husband, I was trying to manifest that job. So I had gotten really great physical shape to the point that I loved my reflection every time I looked at myself. I was very proud of what I had accomplished. This doesn't apply to everyone, so if this doesn't apply to you, cool. But for me, I wanted to make sure that I could bring to the table what I expected my partner to bring to the table. And I wanted my partner to have stable income. I wanted them to be financially secure. I wanted them to have a good job. And I wanted them to have the finances necessary for us to live a good life. I didn't want to ask for that out of my partner, but not be able to provide it for myself. So I went out of my way to secure high-paying writing jobs. I've always been a writer. I graduated from college with my English degree, and I spent that time securing high-paying positions so that I would have something to bring to I don't believe women should bring things to the table, by the way. I hate the whole phrase and saying of what do you bring to the table. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to describe this as best I can. I wanted to be able to have myself what I was requesting my partner to have, which was good income. And so I did that. I took my spiritual journey extremely seriously. I was in my journal every day. I was meditating. I was going to yoga. I was doing everything I possibly could to become the healthiest, most healed version of myself. I was also in therapy to talk about, issues with abandonment with my father, trauma I had from my parents divorcing each other, issues I had with the abusive ex-boyfriend I had when I was 19. He, by the way, after our relationship ended, got arrested for attempting to unalive someone. So it was actually the whole situation I dealt with him was very serious, and I have a lot of trauma from that. But I knew I don't want to take trauma from my parents. I don't want to take trauma from my exes. I don't want to take the feeling that I'm unworthy and undeserving of love into my next relationship, because I actually want my next relationship to last. I actually want my next relationship to end in marriage. I actually want to love and be loved in return. So I had to become healthy-minded. I actually had to do a lot of work, heal my inner child, realize that I am worthy of love, even though my dad abandoned us. That messes with anyone. Like, anyone who's been through that, it makes you feel so unlovable and it makes you feel so unwanted. Like, and if you don't get help for it, no one will be able to convince you otherwise. Your parent, 50% of your DNA, 50% of the reason you exist on this world, they didn't think you were worth it to stick around. Like, that really f***s with your mind. That really f***s with your head. So if you've never been through it, you'll never understand it. If you have been through it, then you get it. It's really painful. And if you don't get help for it, if you don't talk to someone about it and try to heal the trauma that caused, you're never gonna get better. You need to get help for it. It actually requires doing work. And I through the work, I realized that abandonment issues I had with my parents divorcing and my dad leaving is what led me to being in a relationship with someone who was toxic and abusive when I was 19, because I was seeking validation, comfort, security from someone who I thought could offer it to me. And I was clinging to that person, even though they were not the right person for me. So I remember sitting down with my therapist when I was single and on my manifestation journey saying, I am dedicated to meeting my husband and I don't want to take any of this trauma into whatever my next relationship is. Please help. And so I was very dedicated to the mission. Physically, my physical health, financially, my bank account, my job, my career path, mentally, spiritually, I went through the best possible glow up I could possibly go through for myself and I truly put self-love into practice so that I could meet my husband. And I started this process January 1st, 2021. I met my husband June 1st, 2021. So it was 5 months. I continued therapy and all of the things to improve my mental health after me and him met each other, because I didn't feel like 5 months was sufficient. So I was still working on it. And I'm still working on things now because none of us are a finished product. We are all a work in progress, which is a beautiful thing. That means we can always get better. We can always improve. There's always room to grow. Long roundabout way of saying that if you feel unworthy, unlovable, undeserving of your manifestation, whatever it is, because we're not just talking about love here. We're talking about any possible manifestation you might have. It might be about being an entrepreneur and starting your own business. It might be about losing 50 pounds. It might be about creating your own tribe and your own social circle of friends you can trust. It could literally be about any single thing that you want to call into your life. If you don't feel worthy and deserving of it, it won't come to you. And that's my third massive manifestation blockage that I once struggled with. I feel that if I hadn't been willing to do the work and practice self-love, I don't think I would have met my husband. I think that if I wasn't willing to put in the work and do what I needed to do to feel worthy and deserving of starting my lifestyle brand, I don't think I would be monetized right now. I don't think I would be offered PR packages and brand deals. I got myself to where I got, which I'm nowhere even close to my finish line. And by the way, I don't even think I have a finish line. I kind of just want to keep going and growing. But I don't think I would have gotten this far had it not been for practicing self-love, truly putting self-love into practice, and realizing how worthy I am of these manifestations and how deserving I am of these manifestations. Feeling guilty about what you want is naturally gonna block your manifestations. So if you feel even slightly guilty for wanting something, you have to ask yourself why. Really dig in and ask, why do I feel guilty for wanting XYZ so badly? And if it's a valid reason, maybe rethink your manifestations. But if it's something that's like something that you can work through, you should absolutely work through it. Like, for example, feeling like I shouldn't manifest money, that would make me a greedy person. Gotta work through that. You have to work through that, because the more money you have, the easier it is to be generous and the more good things you can do in the world. It is a good thing to be abundant. It is a good thing to be financially prosperous. Outside of feeling guilty, let's stick with money really quick. Outside of feeling guilty or greedy with manifesting money, you might also feel like, who am I to be a wealthy person? I've never experienced wealth in my life. That doesn't feel natural for me. I don't feel like I would belong in that world. Those are feelings that you have to work through. There are plenty of extremely wealthy, successful people in the world who started from nothing, and they currently do really good things with their money. Not all of them, but a lot of them really do. And they figure this out. They believe that they were worth it. They believe that they deserve to have it. And guess what? They have it. Those are my 3 greatest manifestation blockages. So thank you for sticking around and listening to this video. Bye.